What is up, my pickles and picklets? It's Spontaneously Pickled, and today we will be doing our review slash thoughts about today's Smackdown for September 15th, 2023. Now, first of all, before I get started, a little bit of a page stuff. I just want to quickly mention that I mentioned last week, I believe, that I was going to change webcam software, but unfortunately, it didn't run well on my computer, the other software, so I'm still on the lookout for one to get. So I'll keep you guys posted. If you guys do have any suggestions, feel free to drop down any comments below. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I've done a few videos and I've been not getting subscribers the last few times, so hopefully this video is not left into the shadow realm, but we will see. Also, one other thing I'm going to do is, as I'm trying to grow my channel, I also don't want to overexert energy at the moment until I at least start seeing people be responding to these videos. So I'm going to put less images, because usually I put like almost every image on from WWE.com. Credits always go to them, by the way. But today I'm going to do a little bit different. I'm going to use maybe 2 to 3 images per video, because video editing for 4 or 5 hours for nobody to watch almost, it's kind of like tiring. And don't worry, guys, I'm not quitting. I'm not giving up. I just want to make it known that, you know, if you guys notice a little lower quality when it comes to the imagery, it's because I decided to like put a little bit less of the images inside the video, because it's a lot of work, and right now, like, I'm not seeing the fruits of my labor. So, you know, I also did recently make a Twitter, same name, but the handle is at Pickleningen, which is I'll link it over here somewhere over there, like the at. Well, wait, it's called X now. Sorry, guys. X. I made an X. Anyway, so please do feel free to follow me there. I'm always happy to get feedback. I don't really post that much. Mostly it's going to be for plugging my page. Maybe as I grow as a YouTuber and I start getting my fan base, I'll, you know, do more fun stuff with you guys. But again, like I said, right now, everything I'm doing is kind of like in the dark. So I just feel like, okay, what am I doing? And I'm kind of shy as it is, so it doesn't help when you put yourself out there and then nobody says anything, right? So anyway, we're going to get this review started. I do apologize for the little long minute. These are my recording time. It's 2 minutes, so let's get started. Smackdown starts off with Pat McAfee coming out, and, you know, he does a little bit of fan service, obviously, not in a perfect way, just to make that clear. And then Austin Theory comes out and interrupts him. Austin Theory starts by badmouthing the fans and Pat McAfee and mentioning that they have some unfinished business, and makes a comparison between Austin Theory at the age of 26 and Pat McAfee when he was 26 years old. McAfee then jokes, saying that he's trying to dress like him, that Theory's trying to dress like him, and be like him. Then Austin Theory retorts back, stating that he looks more like a burger flipper, like, you know, Pat McAfee, compared to Theory, who looks like a Greek god, which I do agree. Theory is in some amazing shape, let me tell you. I'm not even gonna lie to you there. Then Pat McAfee mentions the People's Show, and The Rock must have heard the People's, and then his music cued, and to my surprise, the freaking Rock came out. The Rock came out. I was just like so shocked. I think The Rock broke like maybe a few thousand decibels with the reaction he got. Like, it was really loud, and I was like, oh my god, that's amazing. I also think that it might have been even the loudest this year. You know, like, sorry, LA Knight, I think you had one of the louder ones, but The Rock, he broke all the records, I gotta say. No, Cena had a really good one too at Payback, but I think The Rock's was definitely louder. Because whenever I hear it, I usually pop one headphone in. When I heard it, I was like, I popped them both, and I always do that when the wrestlers would get big pops, and I was like, okay, this is a pop. Also, by the way, what was up with this guy over here? There was a guy who like walked by with his phone. Was he like a fan or worked for the WWE? It was just really weird. Maybe it was an employee who was too excited. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to look it up on that one, see if there's any information on that. Okay, so then The Rock goes into the ring, and after a stare down between The Rock and Theory, Theory tells him, you know whose ring it is? And The Rock interrupts him and says, shut your bitch ass up. I don't even know if that was PG. Queuing on my R-Truth right there. The Rock then does his finally, The Rock has come back to Denver. And then Theory mocks it and insults Austin, saying, like Stone Cold Steve Austin, saying that this time he's the real Austin, and then cuts The Rock off with his own line. It doesn't matter what The Rock says. Move thief. Throwing in some 2K. I don't really play 2K, but I watch a couple of players who play it, and I learned a little bit about it. I haven't really gotten to the 2K systems yet, unfortunately. The Rock then mentions that the fan matters, and if Austin was there, he would ask the fans if he should kick Theory's ass, which is very true. I remember those back in the day. And then calls Theory an a-hole, and then he gets the fans to say it for about like a good 2 minutes. Like, literally, it's like one side, the other side. One side, the other side, and then he did the other side, that side, other side, that side. It was really cool. Then The Rock gives his theory that he thinks he's an a-hole, and the thing that struck me is that he says that you come on The Rock's The People's Show. And it does actually remind me, and I completely forgot it, but I don't recall if it was actually official, but everybody knew, the fans knew, that Smackdown was made essentially based off The Rock's line, like, lay it, the smack it down on your candy ass. And actually it's really cool, like, to bring that back. I think sometimes people forget that, or newer fans may not be aware of that, so I think that's really, really cool. The Rock then mentions that he's going to beat Theory in 3 seconds, but then Theory doesn't wait, which I would have been the same way if I was Theory, to be honest with you. And he attacks The Rock first. He might as well initiate, right? But then The Rock reverses with the Irish Whip and does a spine buster, and then a People's Elbow on Austin Theory. Theory sold that People's Elbow so well that his shoe even sold it too. His shoe went woof, like it flew up. Then McAfee does the People's Elbow on Theory as well, and then The Rock tosses Theory's shoe out, and then they give a pound, and then, like, that's the end of the segment. Next up, we have Finn Balor versus AJ Styles. The match starts off with a distraction from Priest holding Finn's leg. I don't know, they were like really rambunctious with the distractions today, I gotta say. And then Finn had control of the match until Styles did a leg sweep. Finn then led a basement drop kick, which looked like he got all of AJ's face, because AJ's reaction was like, it looked like he really got him there. But I don't know if it was actually like him just selling it really well, or just he really got hit. They had a few fast-paced back and forths until they did a double crossbody. AJ then took control until Dom distracted him and then Finn took advantage of that with an eye rake. But AJ still maintained control with a face planting type of move on Balor. AJ tries like a Hurricanrana from the top rope, but Balor clutches for too long, I believe. I don't know if it was like a botch or actually Balor circle. I looked at it a couple of times, and it looks like Balor did keep holding on, so it might have been just an actual reversal. Finn then tries a Curry grab from the top rope, but then Styles knocks him off the rope and tries to do the Style Clash, but Finn reverses that. And then he gets hit with another move and then rolls out. Styles then does a flying forearm from the ropes to Finn, and then Dom runs at him only to get clotheslined for his efforts. Priest then grabs AJ's leg in front of the referee, causing them both to get kicked out. Like I said, they was really assertive today with their interference. I don't know why, so I'm not even surprised they got kicked out. But it still worked out, and I knew that there was going to be some shenanigans, and of course, to my not surprise. And then suddenly Jimmy Uso runs out, distracted Styles, so then Finn Balor gets the roll-up for the win. Now, the match itself was okay. It had a lot of shenanigans, which was expected. And when the Judgment Day got kicked out, I did expect that there was going to be some other forms of shenanigans. I actually thought it was going to be like JD McDonough, to be honest with you, but I guess I was wrong. I also think the match was also cut short, to be honest, because I know that these two could have had a longer match. But I think that is because the Rock segment went a little bit long, which I'm not even mad about, to be honest with you. I think the Rock deserved the time. The only thing I got to say is I definitely think that they carried on the urine a-hole thing back and forth for a little bit too long, if you want me to be honest with you. However, like, you know, I also think that it was still good, and it just would have been nice to see The Rock use some more of his older lines and also do a rock bottom on Theory, but that's just me being a complainer. However, I will also say that it was also good to see AJ Styles showing a more aggressive side, and I think that that's a key to make a face look good. You know, faces need to also look dominant as well. We all know that, you know, heels have the advantage if they cheat and all that kind of stuff, but when it's faced against like a faction or two, which AJ Styles clearly is faced against, and he's doing it so far from my recollection alone, you know, he needs to be strong, essentially, you know. Then we have a brief segment with The Rock and Pat McAfee backstage. Funny enough, they actually went on about how the fans could have went on for 2 hours, and I honestly believe it at that point, because The Rock had such a huge ovation. He had full control of the crowd. This is something that I think the wrestlers from the Attitude Era did best. They really had full control of the crowd when they wanted to be honest with you. And actually, what surprised me, seeing the putter behind me, and I remember behind The Rock, and I remember the history there, and you know, I was a little bit shocked, but actually, you know, they embraced it. It was really good to see. It was kind of like one of those feel-good moments, to be honest with you. It was one of those that really feels good, especially considering the rivalry they had in 2010-11, I believe it was, or 2011 and 12. I forgot the exact year, so I do apologize. Then we cut to a quick Balor and Jimmy segment. Basically, Balor thanks Jimmy for the assist tonight. Balor then mentions that he must miss working with his brother, and then mentions that they offered to recruit Jay, and Jay never said no, but then Jimmy rejects. And then Balor mentions that there is no leader in the Judgment Day like there is with the Bloodline, aka Roman. Of course, the whole time Paul Heyman was in the back listening in like a little mole, and then Heyman then walks up towards Jimmy, ending the segment. We then have an LWO segment. Rey Mysterio starts by thanking the fans and the LWO and mentions that his hard time last year because, you know, the whole situation with Dom betrayed him. He then boasts about having a U.S. champion, and then Escobar joins and mentions how Ray became champion in the first place, basically talking about how Theory attacked them, and then Ray was able to take this place and win the title for the LW, essentially. He then mentions his career dream was to face his idol with a title on the line, so I think that, unfortunately, Escobar is going to betray Rey Mysterio, and then the LW is going to become heels. Ray was a bit shocked, but then he does accept, and they shake it off. I believe it was a shake off or was a hug, I don't remember. And then all of a sudden, Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits come out. Lashley mentions the awkward love fest between the LW. I think everybody kind of knows it because we all kind of have a feeling that Escobar is going to betray Rey Mysterio. And then the Street Profits talk about Ray giving out title matches, but then Cruz del Toro says, why talk 50 feet away where we can go in the ring and fight? After that, that triggers a match between the Street Profits and Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde. Now, this is a quick match. The match starts during commercial break, first of all, and this is presumably to buy some more time from the Rock segment. There were a lot of back and forth in the beginning, and then the nasty spill that happened when Angelo Dawkins tossed out Cruz del Toro. Joaquin then kicks Dawkins down and tries to do a high flying move, only to have Dawkins roll out and him, you know, recover from rolling as well. Then Angelo Dawkins then tags in Montez Ford, and then do the revelation that's their like finisher now, I think, for the win. Lashley then instructs them to attack Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde, so they do. Ray and Escobar interrupt, but then Lashley attacks Escobar from behind. Ray was going to attack Lashley, but then Ford grabbed his legs, and then Dawkins hits him with a good punch to knock him out. And then Street Profits and Bobby Lashley walk off. Then we have the match that I was really excited for tonight. The Miz versus L.A. Knight. Yeah. After a few lockups, LA Knight lands a shoulder block and does his chant, and the fans start cheering tiny balls to the Miz. Knight gets the Miz into a corner, but the Miz does a cover, and then he tricks Knight like kind of lures him in, and then tosses him into the turnbuckle, and then he takes control basically of the match for a bit. But worrying a lot about the fans and the ref, Knight actually lands a chop of his own and a power slam for a 2 count. They then continue fighting, and the Miz catches Knight with a knee to the ribs, and when LA Knight ran towards him. The Miz then continues his attack, but then worries way too much about the fans. LA Knight then lands a gut punch, but then misses a punch because the Miz ducks under, and then he goes for like a move like on LA Knight. I don't know what move he's gonna go for, but then LA Knight flipped over with a little bit of a bad landing, but then he tosses the Miz into the turnbuckle and does a neck breaker, and then a second rope bulldog, and then a drop kick for a 2 count. The Miz then cowers again and grabs the apron as LA Knight's grabbing him. And then when the ref is fixing the apron, the Miz like rakes LA Knight's eyes and then tosses him into a turnbuckle and does his signature turnbuckle clothesline, and then a drop kick for a 2. The Miz goes in with a bunch of kicks to the chest and then a big boot to Knight, and then lands a running knee for another 2 count. The Miz then plans to do the skull crusher finale, but Knight reverses it only to get kicked in the gut again. LA Knight then lands a good clothesline, then goes on his fury of attacks and does his back turnbuckle combo, ending it with a new flavor of a running knee for a 2 count. The Miz then reverses a suplex, trying for the skull crusher finale yet again, only for Knight to roll him up for a 2, and for him to do the same to Knight for a 2. But the Miz, of course, held onto the Knight's tights this time, and of course, the real referee didn't see, like I said before about Payback. I literally echo my comments on Payback that how come Cena, the substitute referee, or sort of get this guest referee, does a better job refereeing than the real referees. The Miz then tried to do a DDT on the ropes, but then LA Knight held onto the ropes, so the Miz just fell down. But then the Miz caught him with a kick when Knight tried to jump in at him. The Miz then catches him with a knee from the ropes for a 2 count. Knight then comes back with some punches, but then the Miz catches him with a kick to the knee. Then Knight hangs the Miz up on the ropes for the BFT, and then does a BFT for the win. Now, I like this match. The Miz definitely looked credible in this match, which I think is good, because maybe they're going to try to give the Miz a little bit more win. I'm not sure what the direction they're going to go, but I definitely believe that the rivalry between the Miz and LA Knight is over, and I'll get into that in a second. Now, the Miz was the only thing I didn't like about the Miz in this match is that he wasted too much time on the fans and the referee, like kind of talk smack to them, which I understand because he's a heel, but it was like a little bit too much. After the match, though, Knight grabs the mic and mentions that he came to SmackDown to win gold. He mentions that it doesn't matter who it was. Maybe he's playing a little homage to The Rock. It doesn't matter. And he also said all the champions' names, including Roman Reigns. Now, this is really cool. I guess they're finally going to give him that push that we've been waiting for. And I wonder what title he's going to go for. But I hope that they don't pull the rug from under our feet again. But, you know, it's WWE. After that, they then cut to Solo and Paul Heyman backstage. And then Solo says, I'm going to handle this LA Knight problem. But then Heyman mentions, well, the tribal chief didn't approve that yet. And then Solo will need to handle the issues with Jimmy. Solo then reply, I already know what I need to do, and I'm going to finish this tonight. And then Paul says, who gave the order? And then frantically calls Roman Reigns again, ending the segment. We did have a short segment with Pretty Deadly and Adam Pearce. Basically, Pearce mentions that Elton Prince should soon be medically cleared, and then Elton goes in a funny rant about remembering how it happened with oh my god, the Brawling Brutes and stuff like that. And then Pearce mentions, like, if it's a shoulder injury, why is he in a wheelchair? And then Elton Prince mentions that some injuries just can't be seen, which made me laugh. And he went to like a whole little rant about that. And then Kit Wilson motivates him, stating that the training ended. They're going to do a training regimen, pretty much ending the segment with them both saying their famous catchphrase, yes, boy. Then we have a quick segment between Bayley and Dakota Kai behind backstage. Bayley mentions that she has everything planned out. She had everything planned out perfect from the beginning, but then claims that she's worried that Io went off the plan by accepting the challenge for Asuka and if she's even ready for it. Kai then mentions to Bayley, don't worry about Io because she's facing Asuka tonight, so she should probably be worried about that. Bayley retorts, stating that it's easy for Kai to say because she's still recovering from an injury. Facts. Now, I gotta say, it also kind of sucks how Kai was out for a while from an injury before when they were tag team champions, and then all of a sudden, like a little bit shortly after she came back, she got injured again, so I really hope that she's okay. Anyway, Kai then mentioned that she's concerned because Bayley is worried about Io, and she's focusing so much about Shotzi as well, instead of actually worried about the actual match that she has to fight, because Asuka's no joke, we all know. Then we have Asuka versus Bayley. They have a few back and forths while talking trash. At one point, Bayley covers in the ropes, and then when the ref broke it up, she went behind Asuka and then dropped her down with a hair pull. Asuka then delivered a drop kick from the corner, knocking Bayley to the outside. Asuka then misses a kick, and Bayley pulls her down and tosses her into the ring post. Bayley puts Asuka into a headlock and then rubbing her head, and then does a rope stunner and a knee for a 2 count. Bayley then tries to do a sunset flip, but again gets put into an armbar, but Bayley quickly reverses it and got a 2 count roll up. Asuka then landed a German suplex, and Asuka landed a bunch of like striking attacks afterwards for a 2 count. Asuka then tries for a Meteora, but Bayley counters and then got caught with a unique looking ankle lock, which was really cool. She then rolls out, and Asuka runs in and jumps to the top rope. She like jumps to the right side and actually lands on Meteora this time. And then Bayley kicks out, but then Asuka catches her for another armbar. They then both roll outside of the ring, and then Bayley tosses Asuka around the outside for a bit, tossing her into the ring apron and the barricade. Then she has Asuka pinned up at the barricade. Then Shotzi pops up out of nowhere, like a jack in the box or something like that. Then Bayley runs into the ring, and then Asuka lands a backslide for the win. Shotzi then chases Bayley off, and then she goes back to the ring after Bayley runs away, and then she attempts to do a foot bump, with Asuka slowly but steadily accepting it. This match did have some moments, but it did not honestly meet the expectations that I would have had with a match between Asuka and Bayley. But again, I think that, they were really strapped for time from the first segment, I think, so I'm not even mad at it. Then we had the Grayson Waller effect with John Cena. Waller opens up noting that Cena's accolades, but then he mentions that his star is fading quicker than his headline. But don't worry, because Grayson Waller will give him the rub, making him rise again. Now, you guys really need to leave the man's hairline alone. I always sometimes find it kind of ominous when people say that, and then when they get older, they also bald. But I gotta give Cena his due too. At his age, he's in a hell of a shape. He's in a hella great shape. But also, I will say, as a heel, I think it's a really good move and a funny move, because people will definitely throw their shade about like whatever they can throw, including real life issues, especially a good heel, which sometimes can be controversial, but we'll leave that out for now. And then Waller goes in, saying that it must be a dream for Cena to be on the show. Then he mentions that when he talks to grown-ups, he should take off his hat, just like his mom told him, obviously implying that Cena should take his hat off. I wonder if he's trying to reveal the bald spot. Waller says Cena needs help because he tried to steal the spotlight at Payback, and then he made it all about him by being a special guest referee. And he kept cutting Cena's off. Cena could not get a word in. Then he just mentions that Cena doesn't want to be an in-ring competitor anymore. He mentions that Cena is the greatest of all time, but currently, that's not the energy he's giving, and right now he's not, basically. He then mentions how Theory beat him at WrestleMania, and then also how Theory beat up The Rock. Alternate reality much? I did not see that. Cena takes his hat off and shirt off and gets ready to fight, but then Wallace gives him the floor and says, hey, this is a talk show, not a fighting show. But then, before Cena can speak, Jimmy then comes out. Cena was going to say something, and Jimmy grabs the mic, so Cena really couldn't get a chance to speak. That poor guy could not speak tonight. Jimmy mentions that no one wants Cena here. Jimmy then told him that if he embarrasses him again, do it now. Otherwise, get out of his ring. Then Solo Sikoa comes out with Heyman. He walks straight to Cena and stares him down. Jimmy then starts taunting Cena like a little child from behind, but then Sikoa turns around and grabs Jimmy, preparing to do the Samoan spike. But I think that was a trick because afterwards, instead, he just turned around and did a super kick out of nowhere to Cena. And then they basically start attacking Cena in the corner. AJ Styles then comes out and beats up Jimmy, but Sikoa grabs him and tosses him back, basically. Then Cena comes in and tosses Solo Sikoa out the ropes. Cena does a 5-knuckle shuffle to Jimmy, and then Paul yells for Sikoa to save Jimmy before Cena lands the attitude adjustment. He does so, and then Sikoa saves him, and then Paul Heyman, Sikoa, and Jimmy walk off. And then we go to Cena and AJ giving it to the high fives, and that pretty much ends SmackDown. I like this SmackDown. It was not like the most like best when it comes to match wise, but I will say the appearances were really good. They had some good star power with Cena, The Rock, and even Pat McAfee. So it was really, really good to see. I really do hope that they do keep up the good work with SmackDown. I'm really liking what they're doing with this Endeavor takeover. This is like technically their first show. Like, yeah, some of the matches were like lackluster, I'm not gonna lie, but not that like the people competing itself, but I think they focus more on story. But at the same time, I remember back in the 90s, there were a lot of story segments. I remember back in the day, like Austin and The Rock would be in like 5-6 segments in the whole entire 3 hours of Raw. So I'm not even mad at it, but you know, I also like the wrestling too. But we're gonna see what this happens. I really am enjoying the show so far, and I really hope that they keep it up and keep up the good pace that they're doing, and try to still remember to also include some good matches too, because we always want to have a banger of a match. You know what I mean? Anyway, that does conclude my review for SmackDown. My review and highlights for the September 15th episode of SmackDown. I do hope you guys did like this episode of Pickles Review. I gotta come up with an official name with it. I'll do it when I start getting more followers. When I get 50 followers, I'll start like making a specific name for it. Anyway, I do hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share if you want to share it. And Spontaneously Pickled is out. See you guys soon.